You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. welcoming you, taking a lap of the extra mile for today, February 8, 2024. And boy, there's a lot going on in Formula One this week. And we had a rain-delayed clash and much more. To help me talk about it this week, this is my co-host for the evening, Michael Ward. Michael? Sorry about that, Michael. I had you muted there, but welcome back. It has been a while, but some changes with the job, and you are back here for at least the interim, at least in front of the microphone. And it's so great to have you back. We have a lot to get to, and if you're listening live on the air, make sure to get your comments in. We'll read them as things go, as the show goes on. Excuse me. A little bit of a jumbled up start here with the show. Pretty much like how WWE is right now. If you were watching the press conference this morning, they just wrapped up. They are really deciding they're going to go with this match that absolutely positively nobody wants. So, but speaking of which, let's turn to Formula One. So we'll get started with them tonight. As you read the title of today's episode, whether you're watching live or in the future, I think that pretty much summarizes this week, Michael, or the last 2 weeks, because everything in Formula One is burning down right now.
Yes, if I could describe Formula One right now, it would definitely be a dumpster fire.
So we didn't get to talk to you last week, so I get to actually talk about this now. I guess I'm joining the Tifosi next year.
No, you stay over there.
Lewis Hamilton is now going to be driving a Ferrari in 2025.
Oh, I thought y'all talked about this already.
Well, we talked about it last week, but I wanted to talk with you now.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, shoot, we're talking about this now? I thought we've been talking about this.
Well, I want to get your word on it.
If I'm being quite honest with you, Daryl, I still can't believe it's happening.
We didn't believe it was happening.
I see the pictures of, Hamilton Photoshop with Ferrari overalls, and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Yeah.
It's still, if you would have told me years ago Hamilton is going to go to Ferrari, I'd have been looking at you like, especially after 2022, I'd have been like, nah, man, Mercedes is going to cook and they're going to be back fighting Red Bull. But last season happened and I don't know what happened. Hamilton saw the emulation of the W15 and was like, yeah, this ain't it.
Well, it wasn't even that, as the story has kind of progressed since when we last talked about it last Thursday, to try to figure out what happened. The story apparently goes that Lewis wanted a 2-year deal with Mercedes. However, Mercedes did not want to sign to a 2-year deal Hamilton because they were afraid that he was going to retire in 2024. So they compromised on a 1-year deal with a driver option for next year. Somehow that news gets communicated to Ferrari while they're talking with Sainz, and they drop everything and give Lewis the 2-year deal. And Michael, this has, in my opinion, this has the possibility, depending on how that Ferrari is in 2025, of blowing up monumentally in Ferrari's face.
It really does, especially if they don't. Well, then again, they did fire their chief. Oh, I'm not going to say they fired, but they did part ways with their chief strategist. Mm-hmm. And then apparently they're also welcoming engineers, staff, whoever want to follow Lewis over to Ferrari, which Mercedes engineers I don't think I would say no to that if I was Vasseur. And then Fred Vasseur and Hamilton, they've worked close together in Hamilton's GP2 days. So they have the conditions to cook. They just need to cook good in the kitchen. And I don't think they should cook spaghetti. They should be cooking, soul food. You know what I mean? A heavily dense meal.
The way it's sitting right now, Ferrari's already come out and say that they will allow any engineers from Mercedes to come over. You could see a huge talent shedding over there at Mercedes, which could take them down the order. And then we have the dramatics going on with Red Bull. That could be a change, and
Can
we'll
I can
see
I just
that.
say can I just say all this to beat one man?
Yeah. I mean, you
All
should be
this to
happy it's
beat
setting up your team to be the chief rival. Or I guess our team starting next year.
you stay over there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of insane that Ferrari is really trying to set up, I guess, would you just say a super lineup? Because that's a
They're,
pretty that's a pretty sizable lineup. You
well,
got Lewis Hamilton, the I almost said eight, but seven-time champ,
should be 8.
and you got Charles Leclerc. If he can get his mind out the gutter, he can also be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dangerous lineup, Daryl. That is a very dangerous lineup.
If you have Charles Leclerc being mentored by a 7-time champion in whatever car Ferrari cooks up, and it's even on par with Red Bull, you are going to see probably, not probably, I'm going to say it, you're going to see Ferrari's first World Drivers' Championship in 20 years.
One way or another, it could happen. It
Um,
all really just depends on the strategist, and like I
well,
said, they got
Bono
rid of. Yeah, go ahead.
Bono might be coming over, and for everybody else, they got rid
Bono.
of the old crew. So Fred Vasseur now has his crew in. And the last time Ferrari dominated, it was a Frenchman leading the team.
What nationality is for sure?
French.
Oh, that's scary.
Just saying, everything is starting to line up the way it did when Schumacher came over in the late 90s and they started dominating.
I don't know. We'll see. Red Bull has a lot of potential still in its ball part.
Yeah, but it
Like
seems like
it's still
keep
there's a
going.
power stroke. I just think like it's gonna be Red Bull for like the next 2 years. All of
I'm
these
not,
changes are happening right now. I'm sorry to cut you off again. All of
mhm.
these changes that are happening right now, these are setting up for the regulation changes.
Yeah, this is setting up for 2026. Obviously, you're not going to see Hamilton in that car till 2025. It'll be a feeling out process then, and then it'll be whatever happens with the regulation changes.
I still can't believe he's going to Ferrari.
I don't. A
I,
lot of people can't believe it, and
I
it,
still, I still can't believe it.
as I said earlier, it was a monumental blunder.
I am hereby declaring Max Verstappen a Avengers level threat.
Well, let's
Because
go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Red Bull now because unfortunately the news is grim. I'll say it bluntly. It's grim over there. After Dietrich Mateschitz passed away, it appears there is a power struggle going on for the control of the Red Bull conglomerate and Red Bull Racing, and that may have played into what we're about to talk about right now, which tomorrow Christian Horner has a meeting in Austria with Red Bull officials in regards to an allegation of, I guess the best way to explain it is allegations of abusive conduct towards employees at Red Bull Racing that were made by a woman. Now, I'm going to stress right now that at no time was the abuse characterized as sexually related. I know that has been flying around. That has not been the nature of the abuse that has come out. It sounds more like a hostile work environment situation. Unfortunately, Chris is not here this evening, so we won't be able to talk about it with him, but this is bad timing for Red Bull for this to come up, and if the allegations are as substantial as it appears to be, Christian Horner could be gone, and that could start a huge shakeup in what is right now the most dominant team in Formula One.
Yeah, whether you believe that Red Bull's success is to Adrian Newey or Verstappen, I'm gonna say it's really just Christian Horner. He's been there since I think 2005, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there since 2005. He is kind of the top of the chain there at Red Bull Racing in more ways than one. So him leaving, I don't know, Daryl, and the team might be put in a bit of a disarray because Christian knows how to win championships, and if he's not there, then I still think they have staff that knows how to win championships, but
My
they're gonna
biggest
lose that voice that I'm sorry to cut you off. They're gonna lose that voice that, you know, that mentor, that guy that knows not everything, but like the wise person, I guess you could say, that
Mhm.
guides them to whatever they're trying to achieve. They're gonna lose that if these are true, and I hope they're not true.
I think that's the big thing. We all hope it's not true, but the big thing is if it's true and they decide to fire Horner, then the question is, does Adrian Newey stay? Because apparently the way their contracts are structured, that if Horner leaves, Newey can leave scot-free.
I mean,
And
I don't know. He's won too many championships. Do you really think he's gonna leave?
if the guy that brought him there isn't there and he feels like the team's not going in the direction he wants, I could see him leaving. And the question is, who else is going to follow Horner out the door? Because Horner then becomes the biggest free agent for any team director. I know Haas is looking for a team director. I know Andretti is also looking for someone when their team finally gets in, whenever that is.
Well, it's been rejected.
Yeah. Supposedly they can try again in 2028, and then they'll move the goalposts again. Who knows how that's going to go?
Yeah, I'm not waiting that long time.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not waiting till that.
Well, fastest pit stop reported yesterday. One of the other outlets that talk about Formula One news and rumors is stating that allegedly the bond of friendship between Adrian Newey and Christian Horner is said to have been broken, and that Newey will stay at Red Bull even if Horner leaves. That would
Yeah,
be interesting.
I can't imagine him leaving a team he's found so much success with.
Yep. That also states that if a lot of people are that Horner may have rubbed a lot of people in that building the wrong way, which could keep Formula One there, or so not keep Formula One, keep a lot of the brain trust there, and then the question becomes, where does Horner go?
I
Does he
think
go anywhere, or does he disappear from the grid?
Nah, he's too good. He's too good to just disappear from the grid. I think somebody's gonna scoop him up. Audi, Aston would be a steal. If I was Aston, I would be waiting for that. I would. That's a steal right there if it happens.
I think he might sit out a couple of years and hook up with Andretti and be a part of the FU Formula One tour in 2028 when they get here. Because I could definitely see something like that happening.
You think they're actually gonna get there? Because I don't know, man. Like I thought for sure all the carpets have been pulled under for Andretti, and then they pulled another one.
I think the problem is you're asking for a lawsuit if they kick the can down the road.
I mean, to me, the whole scenario is just weird because everyone says, "Oh, we need more butts in cars." Okay, you have a team that wants to put butts in cars, and you don't, work with them to let them into the sport. It's just, I don't know, it's weird to me. And then they got this whole thing with Wayne Taylor Racing, which, 24 hours at Daytona, I don't think they cooked there, but who knows? There might be a potential there. I'm just saying they're kind of if they want to keep hypercar from being popular, they're doing a bad job. That's what I'll say.
Formula One's done a lot wrong the last few weeks. Right now, it sounds like they're trying to put together a Chicago Grand Prix.
Let's. Why does America have one, two, three, about to be four Grand Prix?
Well, most of the Grand Prix are in Europe, and we've got like 340 million people. My problem is, why are they all on street courses except for Coda?
Oh, and that's
Like,
another thing. I'm getting so tired of street courses.
same. Las Vegas sucks. Miami sucks. I have no idea what they're going to do in Chicago. We're not even going to get into Madrid tonight. I'm just. I
Have
am
you? No, 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 no. We got to talk about Madrid real quick.
fine.
Have you seen the way that track looks?
I've seen it and I hate it.
Okay. When you look at the map, right?
Yes.
Where is someone supposed to overtake?
Who knows?
I
In
mean,
the
if you're Max
pits.
Verstappen, that's going to be easy, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, just looking at that track, I'm just like, who designed this? There's no overtaking opportunity.
Yeah.
This might as well be an American Monaco.
Yeah. I don't.
And then, yeah, we're all just having just street course central, and it's just, we don't want it.
Mm,
I haven't met a single person that's like, you know what we need, Daryl?
mm-hmm.
We need more street courses. Nobody wants this.
Nobody asked for this. I don't know why we've gotten stuck in the street course debacle with Formula One. I really don't get it.
We
But
need more street courses.
Formula One has made a lot of dumb decisions over the last few years, and this is just another one. And as I was saying, I'm really feeling disillusioned with the entire fan base, or not fan base, the entire brain trust up there, and I have no idea how you solve it at this point.
Just come
Because
to WEC and IMSA.
I mean, I watch both of those, so
I'm just telling all of our viewers, if you want actually good racing, just come over here, bro.
yep.
We got you.
So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of that good racing, including the Clash that was a day early We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening. We're going to get into the clash at the Coliseum in LA, which was supposed to run last Sunday, but ended up running on Saturday because, Michael, they got a torrential downpour basically most of this week there in LA.
Oh, my goodness.
So they basically what NASCAR said was either move the race to Saturday or they weren't going to be able to race at all because everybody needed to get to Florida for the 500, obviously.
Yep.
I kind of wish they made the call earlier. I listened to some of the race on MRN. It sounded like there's a pretty good race, lots of passing that was rare in previous events. Well, passing that didn't involve the bumper. So it sounds like we had a good little preview of what was going to come up next year or later this year with the road course package, and the boss man ends up picking up the win. Denny Hamlin takes the win in the Clash.
Yep, he took the one all right. In style.
Yep. Unfortunately, he is going to retire the catchphrase.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his dad told him to shut it down, so as he said on Actions Detrimental on Monday, he's going to end up shutting it down, and Taryn says can confirm about the rain. And Taryn, we're glad that you are okay, because it looked pretty disastrous with that rain. So as we look towards the future of the Clash, there's been a lot of conversation about where it should go. A lot of people are talking about it should go back to Daytona, but nobody went to it, and we complained it was a wreck fest. So why would we go back to Daytona? Just for y'all to complain that nobody's there and it's a wreck fest.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it going back to LA, because both LA events that ran on the scheduled day were well attended. The Saturday race, which ended up being a free event just because of the particulars with the weather, was still rather well. It wasn't attended as if the race was going to be on its normal day, but still a lot of people did go to that race, probably more than what we ever saw at the last few Daytona races. So I think what I could see is NASCAR trying to work with to work with USC to get the event back next year. Now, the problem is there's an Olympic year in between that, and they're going to be doing construction on the LA Coliseum before those 2028 Olympic Games. So I'm not sure when they're going to be able to do that, but they're going to have to, when that construction is going to be. But I could see the Clash being moved to another stadium in Southern California to get that done.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen too, Daryl. And I'm kind of glad that we're staying with this whole having the race at a Coliseum, because I think it just promotes some pretty good racing.
I think it does too. It was a lot of fun, the three clashes that we've had in the LA Coliseum. And it's something new, and it got people excited. And that's what NASCAR needs right now, is a little bit of injection in excitement. Okay, we can't curl ourselves back in the ball of tradition like we were and try to make the sport as elitist as Formula One is becoming.
I'm sorry, what did you say there? I'm sorry, what did you say there?
So we can't allow NASCAR to get into this ball of conservativeness when it comes to trying to grow the sport, and ended up making it as elitist as Formula One is, where it's almost impenetrable to outsiders at this point.
Yeah, I don't want it to become that, but I do also want it to continue to expand and do better. I think the direction they're taking is good. I just don't think they should.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it, because I think NASCAR is in a good place right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it should just stay there and not really try anything new for right now, but just ride it out and see how things go, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I would like to see us go back to somewhere in Southern California for the Clash. I don't know how they're going to make it happen, but I would like to see, if they don't do it at USC Stadium, there is a dome in LA that has football that they could do this race at.
And whatever you do, don't do a street course.
Please don't do a street course. But we are now getting ready, of course, for the great American race, the Daytona 500, and getting the NASCAR season started once again. Michael, how excited are you to be back at Daytona?
I am pretty excited. I love this race. I look forward to this race every year. It's one of those. It's just one of those races that you just mark your calendars for.
Yeah. It is the Super Bowl of NASCAR. It's always the race that gets us the most hype. As, of course, it is the Daytona 500. Everyone, really, the season won't start till we get to Atlanta. Everything next week is about winning the Great American Race and putting your name on that Harley J. Earl trophy. And one guy that's going to want to do that is Bubba Wallace. Michael, he's been so close so many times to winning this race, and something has just gone wrong. Is this going to be the year that he wins that race?
He, if he's taking what he's learned from last year, he definitely has a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year he was doing really well. He was finishing up really high. And I think if he keeps up that momentum, he could potentially win.
I would love to see him win. And I think a lot of NASCAR fans would like to see Bubba finally break through and win that Daytona 500. And it will lock him into the playoffs. Which, if he gets a couple of wins like he should have last year, he probably makes the championship 4. And
You
I
really think so?
Yeah. I mean, Bubba was so fast when they got into the playoffs that a couple of wins, he's probably in the championship 4. And I think this is going to be the year where that team really breaks out. And I think for the 23 team, they're going to get those wins that they should have had last year. On the other side, staying with Toyota, we do have Legacy Motorsports joining the Toyota fold this year from Chevy, now one of the top partners with the Toyota brand after being relegated to a Tier 3 brand last year with Chevy. How do you think that increased support is going to help Legacy Motor Club?
More data, more research that's going to go towards all the teams. And with that knowledge, it's going to come more speed. I think they'll all get faster.
I think the one thing this is going to help Toyota is at the plate tracks. Daytona,
Yeah.
Talladega, and whatever you consider Atlanta now. Their biggest detriment to trying to win those races, they just did not have that many cars. They're going to have 7 this year. Now they're still dwarfed by Chevy. Not as much by Ford, but now they got a few more cars out there, a little bit more strategy.
Yeah.
They can run. Actually, they have 8. I'm sorry. There's 4 cars at JGR, so they now have 8 cars out there, so they're kind of level with Ford. Of course, they're all still dwarfed by Chevy, but now they have a little bit of a fighting chance at these plate tracks. Or downforce tracks. They're really not plate tracks anymore.
Yeah.
But I am excited to get back to NASCAR racing. Then we'll have IndyCar starting at the end of the month as well as Supercars. This is an exciting time because we are getting back finally to getting some racing out there, Michael.
Yeah, we're going to get more racing. And what personally, Daryl, what new series are you potentially thinking about getting into this year?
That is a good question. I need to get more into IMSA. I had a bad habit of missing their races last year, so I definitely want to do that. And I want to get more into V8 Supercars, although they're having their own little chaos at the moment with the Brody Kostecki situation. It will be fun to get a chance to watch those, and whatever's on Flow Racing, because I have that. So that'll be nice to check out some of the racing on there.
I want to get more into endurance racing outside of India. So, 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst, GT3 racing in general. I just want to get more into endurance racing.
The WEC is also going to be a wonderful race. We've got all those beautiful cars coming in that we are going to talk about here later. And it is going to be a lot of fun to see this wrap up. And we're going to actually talk about some of that sports car stuff here on the other side. We're going to get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into some of the developments in sports car racing, as well as some IndyCar liveries are starting to come out for one team that has been a bright spot the last couple of years. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here. Every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Get into some sports car racing and IndyCar to wrap up the show. And, of course, we have coming up soon the start of the World Endurance Championship. And, Michael, we've got another Ferrari coming in. We've got Lamborghini and Alpine joining the field, as well as an Italian privateer. The hypercar category looking as good as ever.
Yeah, this is what I thought Formula One was gonna be. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, this is what I thought Formula One was gonna be. And like I said, I'm still surprised that it hasn't.
It's exciting to see that hypercar racing is back together and getting the WEC a lot of play once again. I am loving all the new cars, all the racing we're going to see. Now, Toyota did dominate last year, but everybody had a new car but them.
Yeah.
Outside of them and Glickenhaus, everybody had a new car. This year, everybody's got a year of experience. I think Toyota's vulnerable.
We'll see, because Peugeot made a bunch of updates to their car.
They're actually getting a wing.
Yeah, they're putting a wing on the back of that car, which I thought it needed.
What is your thought about the wing? Because they tried that radical concept to go without it, and they just could not get it to work.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mercedes with all the side pod. You kind of took something the car needed.
So we also have Lamborghini. They're going to be running a Le Mans Daytona hypercar. They're going to start racing in Sebring and the first round of the World Endurance Championship. They're going to run the full season in WEC, just the endurance rounds in IMSA. How do you think that new car is going to do in the World Endurance Championship?
I think it'll do fine. I think when it comes to a new car, they're going to just try to see how well it performs. Mm-hmm. But who knows? It might be, a crazy situation where the car performs better than expected. And they just fly with it, They just fly with it and they start getting wins, podiums, and I don't know, Daryl. I think they might cook, they might not, but I just want to see a good race in all the categories.
Well, the big question is, what is the LMDH versus hypercar? Obviously, the conspiracy birds are everywhere about that. Do you think we're going to see those two cars, or the two brands, have more convergence? Because hypercar utterly dominated last year, but that was mainly due to Toyota. And then the one race Ferrari won. The few races that Ferrari won, but it was mainly Toyota.
I like how you said the one race Ferrari won, and it's the biggest race of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, they did kind of win the Le Mans 24. It's just one race, But anyway.
It's just one race,
Yeah. I think the LMDH cars will start coming together. I mean, Porsche was extremely quick last year.
They're quick this year. They're quick this year, from us.
Yeah, we just saw them dominate the last portions of the Rolex 24. I think there's a metric crap ton of Porsches. They're going to be on the grid. So I think between the privateers and Penske, you're going to see that Porsche start really developing. I think the Cadillac's got some speed. All will be revealed when the test day starts, but I don't think you're going to see the hypercars. If you see the hypercars running away with it, it's not going to be because of some rules conflagration. You've got Ferrari, one of the biggest racing manufacturers in the world, and Toyota, a dominant brand in their own right in WEC. Those are two really good teams. They're going to be the standard bearers this year. But chasing them are going to be a whole lot more manufacturers, and one returning in Alpine. It's been a minute since Alpine has been up. They spent last year in the LMP2 category, but they are back in hypercar. How do you think they are going to do?
They have some talent in those cars. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll do reasonably well. I don't think they'll do anything groundbreaking, but I think they'll do very, very well. I think they'll get the results that they kind of needed in order to justify this program, but I don't think they're gonna do anything crazy like win races. Maybe podiums will win races. I don't think so.
And unfortunately, someone just posted one of the first looks at the weather for the Daytona 500. It is not good. Rain, and more rain.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yep. But on the other side, we'll stick with the WEC conversation. Only two classes this year. It'll be WEC and LMGT3. We're going to have that special body work. I'm excited to see that, but I think the most important thing is you're going to see two cars per manufacturer, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see some of the same battles happening in hypercar take place in the LM category.
It's going to be really fun. I cannot wait.
I want to see, how do you think Corvette and Mustang are going to do in that race?
So they were both very. I think if you want a clear indication of how these teams are gonna go, you got to look at how the Daytona 500, not the Daytona, the Rolex 24 went. Both of those guys were very competitive. Corvette and Mustang, pretty decently competitive, if you ask me. So I think they're going to carry that into this season.
I think having the great American rivalry happening on an international stage again is something that we lost when the Ford GT went away, and now that both of those brands have GT3s and are going to be competing in GT3 classes all over the world, you're just going to see the global amplification of the greatest American rivalry, Ford versus Chevy. I think that deserves a movie in its own right.
I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you. I think it'll be a great story going into potentially Le Mans and other races.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be a great story in Sebring in a couple of weeks, which that is going to be the next race for IMSA. That's also going to be where Lamborghini is going to show up to run their first race of the season. That's going to be that's going to be a car breaker. It always is, and it's going to be great to see these race cars try to handle the bumps that are at Sebring. They are never going to repave that place, and I love it.
Respect the bumps. Respect the bumps.
Yep. Which, by the way, we also have the 12 Hours of Bathurst coming up here soon.
Yeah, that's
that
another.
That's
That's a
this
race
weekend.
That's another race I wanted to catch.
Yes.
Remember, I said I wanted to definitely make sure I catch up on endurance racing this season.
Yep, that race is actually going to be this year on Daytona 500 weekend, the 15th through the 18th.
Well, the way I see it, if the Daytona 500 gets rained out, you'll have that to watch.
Yeah, well, you'll be watching on Saturday. So if the
Yeah.
Xfinity race gets washed out, you'll be able to watch it then. That is always a weird event because they've got a bunch of different classes that run it. You have GT3, GT4s, then a couple of indigenous Australian makes that are going to run that race, or indigenous Australian classes that are going to run that race as well. So it's another one of those races similar to Spa, where it's the professionals all the way down to your privateers that pull in on the truck. So before we wrap up, one thing I do want to talk about is IndyCar. We did see McLaren reveal the liveries for their 3 Indy cars. And Michael, when I want to leave,
Are they still McLaren Arrows, or are they just still
Arrow Schmidt McLaren? Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought McLaren fully bought them out. I was about to be like, wait, what? That happened?
No, sorry about that. But before we go, I just want to say this one thing. That team has been a bright spot outside of some notable dramas of the last couple of years. I'm excited to see what Pato, Rossi, and the boys can do this year.
I'm excited to see what they can do this year. I've been watching them for the last couple of years, and I think this year they might actually cook.
Yes. Here's one more thing I will say. There's a rumor that IndyCar might be going to a charter system.
Oh, God.
And that might include guaranteed qualifying spots into the Indy 500. Abso-freaking-lutely not. It needs to be the fastest 33, period. Or what's the point of doing qualifying the week before? Let's just do it on Saturday at that point.
Real.
The Indy 500 is supposed to be the fastest 33, period. I don't care what team they're from. I don't care how much money they made. If it really is one race that makes all these teams' budgets, then we need to do a much better job of promoting the other races so it doesn't all come down to Indy on whether or not a team's going to keep their doors open. But abso-freaking-lutely not should we have baked in, locked in spots. And I'll leave it to you, Michael, you get the last word.
Really? I get the last word? I am definitely looking forward to all of the racing going on this year.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't wait. Hopefully, there'll be a lot of twists and turns, fun along the way, no crazy drama. And let's make it a great year.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year of racing. Next week, of course, are the duels at Daytona. Those will be on Thursday. We're going to try to do a pre-recorded show before then, because obviously we will not be on the air on Thursday. We'll be watching the duels. And then, of course, Sunday on Fox, 3 p.m., the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Can't wait. Hope you all enjoy it as well. And we're going to wrap up for this edition of the Extra Mile. Remember, I'm at DK Junior 12. Michael's at Michael_War25, and Chris at Fiji Sims. If you want to get in touch with us on Twitter, and of course, make sure to keep a lock to our pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and follow the iSports Radio pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well. If you missed any episode of any iSports Radio show, you can hear them on iSportsRadio.com, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, the YouTube repository, which has a copy of every episode we've ever done. Well, that'll wrap it up here for this edition of The Extra Mile. For Michael, I'm Daryl. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.